Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Cotton, founder of Higher Brain Living. I've spent the last 3 decades studying human potential, and what I know now is that if your life is going to change, your brain has to change. You see, the changes we all seek are currently anchored into the old primitive lower brain strategies. The lower brain strategies that want to keep our lives the same. In this video, you're going to see an actual demonstration of a Higher Brain Living client, and you're going to see a shift in energy from their lower stress brain into the highly evolved prefrontal cortex. This is going to be absolutely mind-blowing, but before we get to the demonstration, I want to give you a little context. Higher Brain Living is a 22-step program that shifts energy from the lower primitive stress brain to the higher evolved thriving brain. And it provides you, this system provides you with a new strategy to bring that empowered higher brain energy to all areas of your life. All of you have heard that we don't use all of our brain's potential. This is now a fact. Thanks to the science of neuroplasticity, we know the brain can rewire itself. But to do that, for the brain to be able to rewire itself, it needs energy in the right part of the brain to create this rewiring, and it needs energy to be able to apply those brain changes to our lives. So the higher brain has latent, untapped potential. In fact, recent research has shown that only about 5% of the potential of this highest, most evolved part of the brain is actually used. This highly evolved part of our brain is associated with advanced states of consciousness. In fact, that's now been demonstrated in major research at the University of Wisconsin. That highly evolved part of the brain is also the part of the brain that can sustain states of joy, that provides states of gratitude, that allows us to feel purpose and meaning in our life. That higher part of the brain, in fact, can transcend the rat race we often feel trapped within. It allows us to see beyond our problems and chart the course to a better life. And we now know that that part of the brain must be energized for you to have a purposeful and meaningful life and even have spiritual connection. In fact, Andrew Newberg, a researcher, a medical doctor researcher in the Department of Nuclear Medicine at the University of Pennsylvania, a quote of his is that when energy shifts into the prefrontal cortex, what he refers to as the command center of the brain, that the person wakes up to a new reality that's even more real than the old reality was. So we have this amazing part of our brain that's untapped potential, and yet we're not using that. Now, why would that be? Why would it be that we have this amazing part of our brain, but it's largely dormant? You see, the lower brain is millions of years old. It evolved at a time when the environment was predator-rich, and its job is to keep you safe. The problem is it's still dominating our lives today, and it's not adapted for the modern world. It keeps us stuck in our old life, and it robs the potential energy from the higher brain. So lower brain survival keeps us from being eaten, but it hijacks the energy needed for the higher brain, and it keeps our lives the same. So there's a biological imperative deep within that lower brain to create sameness in our life. And even if our life is not what we like it to be, that lower brain wants it to remain the same, because if you're alive, then it feels successful. So now you're going to see a live demonstration of energy shifting from the lower brain into the higher brain of an actual Higher Brain Living client. I'd like you to meet Sarah.
Hello, Dr. Cotton.
Hello, Sarah. Sarah has volunteered to participate in a Higher Brain Living session today. I'm going to do a demonstration with her, and you're going to see this amazing response in her physiology. The demonstration is only going to be about 10 minutes long. We're condensing this for the video. Ordinarily, these are 45-minute long sessions and part of a 22-step program. During this higher brain living demonstration, I'm going to be making gentle contacts into pathways in Sarah's body. As these pathways are contacted in just the right way and right sequence, there's going to be a release of energy that moves up to her higher brain and creates a surge of energy that lights up the higher brain, and her higher brain will create its own feedback mechanism, further energizing itself. And what you're going to see is an expansion of breath and energy in her body and movement in her body as her own higher brain is starting to promote energy to light up the highest parts of her brain. So watch this. And you can see this change in breath. We call that a salutogenic breath. We'll talk more about that on a later video. Energy is now building from these pathways, releasing energy. We directed it into her higher brain. And her higher brain is waking up. We can even measure this with EEG. Her higher brain is waking up, and it's now promoting its own strategies, its own feedback mechanism to further energize itself. And everything that you're seeing happening in her body is spontaneous. She's not making it happen. She could stop it, but she doesn't want to, because it's dissipating the stress response out of the lower brain and energizing the part of the brain where we have more joy, more gratitude, more passion, more purpose, and she's feeling that empowered state as this is happening. It's an amazing response, and it's consistent and repeatable through this higher brain living system. Energy is literally building in the prefrontal cortex, the untapped part of her brain, through cueing these pathways in just the right way. That remarkable response is the potential that's in all of our brains, but it's untapped. Again, once her higher brain is nudged through energy released through these gentle contacts, it's waking up and it's saying, oh, wow, look at what I can do. It's creating its own feedback mechanism to promote more energy into that part of the brain where she creates a new life. And you can see the breath expanding all the way through her body, and that wave-like movement releasing stress so it opens those pathways up for more energy to build in the higher brain. And now for this final part of the demonstration and session, I'm going to have Sarah lay on her back. Sarah, will you go ahead and roll over onto your back, please? And look at that amazing response in her body as her brain is getting more energy, releasing its stress, and moving into this growth response out of the stress part of the brain into the higher thriving part of the brain. This is a potential that's in all of humanity. This is spontaneously happening in her body. She's completely aware that it's happening, but she's not making it happen. She's just letting it happen. And that completes this demonstration. And now we're going to hear from Sarah.
A transformation that can be sustained. A transformation that is not only just in your emotions or in your mind, it's an actual physiological change that we're giving more energy and more oxygen to this brain. And that's very exciting to me. And that's what I was looking for. Something that really worked and that was sustainable, that I could live every day in this new place. And it's been phenomenal.
I know that if the world is going to change, a shift in humanity from the stress brain, the lower stress brain, to the higher enlightened brain must happen soon. Higher brain living is a vehicle designed to usher in just that shift. Once you watch all of these videos, you'll understand why I'm so passionate about having you join me. You're going to have an opportunity to become a Higher Brain Living client, and I hope all of you take advantage of that opportunity. We even have a training program if you want to start a new career with Higher Brain Living. Not only will you learn this groundbreaking technique, and I can teach you to do everything you saw on the table and everything that you're going to see in the future videos, but we also can teach you a step-by-step way to open and operate your own Higher Brain Living Center. If you choose to, you can run a successful business changing lives. There are currently 180 trained and licensed facilitators in the world, and we need thousands to create widespread social change. This is the ground floor of a revolution, and I can teach you to do it. Higher Brain Living is currently being studied at the University of Iowa. There are several states providing continuing education credit for health professionals in a variety of different fields. We even have studies now showing the increase in energy in the highest, most evolved part of the brain as clients participate in this program. In the next video, you're going to learn more about how this amazing response in the brain actually happens. You're going to also see another live demonstration. Welcome to the revolution, and I can't wait to have you join our Higher Brain Living community.